everybody, and welcome to episode 195 of the I Rock Knits podcast, or 196, or 197, depending on when this goes up. I haven't done a regular old-fashioned podcast, so welcome to my hallway closet. Somebody asked me how I store my yarns, and I have shown my little office closet before, which is right around the corner here. And I have outgrown that closet. I have a lot of business stuff in there. I also have yarn in there. But that is all kind of my older yarns, and it is a very narrow, tall, thin closet. So about a year and a half ago, my husband and I got some shelving and moved some of the coats and the vacuum cleaner out of this front hall closet, and I put my yarn in here. So I keep it all in 2-gallon Ziploc bags, and at the time I thought I would only need the 2 shelving units. But what I'm finding is most of the time I'm buying sweaters quantities, and so I have got some of my big fluff yarns here, and they are just so bulky that they just kind of didn't fit in the cubbies very well. They're the bigger kind of almost Aran to chunky weight skeins of Wonder Fluff and different fluff yarns, the blown yarns. And then of course, once I got going, I sorted by color. So I've got blue behind me and green, and then I've got my purples here and my pinks here. And then these are my yellows. Behind me down here is more gold. And then over here, I've got more pink. And then these are all highly variegated right here. So that's how I decided to store it. I've got Chevy with me here today because I'm literally sitting on a tiny little stool. I wanted to be low to the ground. And it is just a work from home day today. So I just have on a sweatshirt. It says, "We'll give knitting advice for tacos," which is true. But I have hung up bags on the door here on those kind of removable hooks that are next in line projects. Projects that I want to get on the needles coming up here. And so I just did a little hole punch in the corner of the bag. And then I also have the pattern in the bag that will tell me what I want to make. So this is Barocco Summer Sesame, and the top is just a little round yoked top, and this will kind of stripe, so the yarn will do all of the work. So it's an easy to knit project. This is a design that's coming up for next winter. It will be a chunky weight hat with a boucle trim, which boucle is making its mark right now. I've got, this has been in my to-do list forever. It is a yoke clock, and it is a clock where you knit in a circle the face of a clock, and then you put a LP, an old vinyl, inside this piece, and you stretch it over, and then you purchased it as a kit, and it has a clock face that comes out of the hole. Have I not knit that? I mean, it really literally would not take that long. The clock is, you know, like this big. It's fingering weight, but it really wouldn't take that long. I just haven't gotten to it. And there are a couple up higher. And this does go up another row right here on that shelf. There is a bunch of Kenzie yarn that is all the same yarn and multiple colors, a lot of leftovers. And so I'm just keeping that in a bin by itself. So we'll see how long we last on the floor here today. It is a chilly day here in Minnesota. I got back from the dog park, and I have kind of missed talking to all of you. I've been doing all these interviews just constantly, going and interviewing people in Minnesota, which has just been lovely for me to meet some of these people and me to support them and lift them up, a lot of smaller makers in the industry. But I just miss just chatting, and I know some of you miss that too. Let me show you what I purchased recently, because I want you to all have the chance to go get it if you have literally a lot of budget yarn left over for the money left over for your yarn, your yarn budget for the year. So my friend Sandy Rosner is going to have a new sweater coming out. I also showed this on Instagram, but she has a new sweater coming out, and it's a striped sweater. I'll put a picture in here when I do my editing. And she used 24 mini skeins from an advent. So if you have an advent that you have been saving for something and you want to knit just a really fun sweater, but Jill Draper Makes Stuff has these set of 24 mini skeins, and it is Dorset wool. I love Jill's yarn. I have designed with it before. I don't know how long these will stick around because she only does a clip a year that takes all of the sheep clip from 1 year, gets it spun, gets it dyed, and then when it's gone, it's gone. So I just wanted to let everybody know that this sweater's coming out, and Sandy used this yarn, and hers is so fun. And so I thought, well, I'll turn it here a little bit so you can see. It's kind of all the colors. This was a huge investment of yarn and money. I can't remember how much I paid. I think a couple $100. But I definitely think that there will be yarn left over. So there's 106 yards on each mini skein. And so let's just say that there's 100 and you have 24. And it does not take me 2,400 yards to knit something. So I definitely will have half of each skein, depending on how I make it, left over when I'm done. So I'll probably be able to get 2 sweaters, and maybe I'll do the same sweater again for my mom, or maybe I'll sell half of it to someone who wants to do one later down the line in my knitting group. You know, you never know. But I will definitely use it, and I love that it is a wool and not a superwash. I also wanted to share March's Dumplin bag. This is the Knitting at the Library Dumplin bag. It is meant to look like books on the shelf, and it matches my Knitting at the Library cowl. So if you know that pattern, it is a sampler of 4 stitches that are textured. And so I wrote the pattern originally for my beginner knitters to learn some new stitches. It was just a cowl in the round, and each stitch section was a different stitch pattern, super simple, easy to do. And that has still to this day been one of my most popular patterns, because so many people knit at the library and so many knitters love libraries. And so then I did a Knitting at the Library Part 2, which is all lace samples for different lace sections. And then I made a hat to match that one. So I decided that since it was so popular, I would make this up, and it just repeats around the bag. Although my testers used scrap yarn, so all your books could be a different color. And some of them are a little narrower than others because I really did want it to look like books. If you have not made a Dumplin bag yet, what are you waiting for? These are so fun to make. You can use them as a soft side bag. You can make your drawstring out of I-cord or just use shoelaces. Or you can buy the felted purse insert for the inside, but they're really fun. They don't take much more time than an extra large hat. You just knit the square on the bottom and pick up a round. I've talked about it before. And next month's bag is a doozy. It is so fun. My testers are like, this is your best one yet. And I think I've had a couple that have been really fun to knit, but they're loving next month's bag. So we have 2 more months left of Dumplin bags to come out. There will be 13 bags in total. I started in June last year, and it will end in May this year. And in February, I put out 2, the dog words and the knit words at the same time. And I don't know why I didn't split those out, but I didn't, so they were together. But yeah, you can still go out and get the entire Dumplin bag devotee collection at a discounted price on Ravelry for like a couple dollars per bag. So you can go over and take a look at that. I also finished my hat. The Knit and Gather ladies were here 3 episodes ago, and this is my hat that I absolutely love, using Fiber MacGyver DK weight and some Surrey alpaca. This was really fun to knit. I will say that this is a shallow hat. It's not very tall because the designer has a more shallow head, a shorter head circumference height-wise. And so you can make it a little bit taller, but the construction is so interesting. You knit and then you do this section in ribbing and then you fold it over. It was just a really, really fun knit. But I did get that finished up, so I wanted to share that all with you. Lay down, down, all the way. Someone is not used to this setup. He usually is under the table, but today he's really struggling. I went to grab this sweater and I grabbed a little pillow to sit on so I'd be a little bit higher. Sorry. And I just grabbed the pillow from the chair in the office, and it's a vibration pillow. I sat on it and we both kind of jumped. So now he's a little agitated because it went, Okay, you need to lay down. Finished my Campfire Tee, so I got it all done. And this was my February project to just knit for myself. So I only took it to knitting with me, and then when we would go out to dinner or in the car to go to church, I was just knitting on it. Plain top-down raglan, very oversized sweater, but I loved having something on the needles that I didn't design, that I wasn't writing something down, keeping track of something. It was just really lovely to just have something, and it'll be great. This is kind of a chunky cotton. I got it from Wool & Company. I matched the colors of the designer, and so I did get that finished up as well. I have now cast on another striped sweater because I've decided that since I have several sweaters quantities of yarn like that, it would just be nice to have another one on the needles like this. It is a wider striped top. It's by Kate Davies. So I'll be showing that coming up on another podcast. So what have I been watching? I have watched so much. I watched the movie Regretting You, which was a book by Coleen Hoover, and it's her daughter meets the bad boy in town, and then when a devastating accident reveals a shocking betrayal, Morgan Grant and her daughter Clara explore what's left behind as they confront family secrets, redefine love, and rediscover each other. I just copied that and pasted it, so I remembered to tell you what it's about. Quite good. I finished watching season 3 of Night Agent, which I loved, and I told my husband he needed to start watching it. He goes to bed much earlier than I do, and he often goes in and watches a car show before he goes to bed, and I said, you have to watch this. It's so good. And so he started watching it. He's calling it the Night Stalker just to aggravate me. He says, I'm going to go watch Night Stalker every night. I'm like, it's the Night Agent. Then he laughs. But he just finished season 2 and he's really enjoying it too. So that's quite good. Watched the documentary on America's Next Top Model. Not a fan. I stopped after maybe the second episode. I just wasn't comfortable with what was happening to those girls. It was sad. So I don't know if I'll go back and continue to watch it, but if you know people in the modeling industry, it might be worth your while to know kind of some of the stuff that goes on. I finished Emily in Paris. I finished Lincoln Lawyer, all the new seasons. I finished Love is Blind. That's the first time that I finished a whole season of that. I started Love on the Spectrum. I only have a couple of episodes that I've watched on that. So there's a lot of stuff out. I love watching TV and knitting late into the night in the winter. But my favorite right now is the Pitt. It is so fantastic. I just really, really enjoy it. It makes me really sad that it only comes out every Thursday and I have to wait for it. But I did watch a documentary that I have to highly recommend. It was called Come See Me in the Good Light. It was one of the shows that was kind of negligibly up for Academy Award. It was produced by Tig Notaro, and it is the story of the spoken word poet Andrea Dixon, who let them follow her as she battles terminal cancer. And when you first meet them at the beginning of the story, She's been diagnosed with stage 4 uterine cancer. And it is not the show you think you want to watch, right? Like you are like, it's a spoken word poet and it's about cancer. You want to watch this. It is so insightful. It is so, there are lots of uplifting parts. Both these women are in a relationship that they lift each other up, but they're both so smart. And I feel like you could sit with a notepad next to you and just write down the quotes to be remembered, because they're just so, they're motivating, they're insightful, they make you relish your life. It's just so good. Like, stop watching this and go watch Come See Me in the Good Light, and then come back and tell me in the comments down below if you loved it as much as I did. It is just so well done. Just an amazing, it will stay with me for a long time. A lot of you will know that I took a trip down to Winona, Minnesota, which is about at least 3 hours southeast of me. And I interviewed for my podcast the owner and partner owner of the yarn store in Winona, in Yarnology, and I've known them for years, so that podcast went up. And then tonight the podcast will go up with my interview with Crystal of Factor Girl Designs, and then I have one more interview that's already in the bank that I did last week on Zoom. So then I have another one scheduled coming up here. We're going to go home to Sioux Falls to see my parents. I still call it home, and I've lived here much longer, but you know, your hometown is still home. And so we're going to go on Good Friday. We're going to go down and see my parents, and I'm going to do an interview while I'm down there too. So I do have some interviews in, the works here, but I'm also going to try to get back to just chatting with you. I love hearing in the comments what you're knitting on. So tell me what you're working on, because I sit and talk to an iPad or a phone every other week, and I tell you everything about my life and what I'm knitting, but I don't get feedback unless you comment. And I watch a lot of my podcasts on the TV, and you can't comment. Like, you have to go to your device. So I get it. I get that comments are getting to be fewer and fewer, but it's really nice if you take the time or send me an email, or if you're in my Patreon group, you can send me a Patreon message. My Patreon group is still going strong. We're doing a knit night and a book club every other month. And I don't have a lot of people participating, but people are busy, and that is your druthers. I always record it, so you can always watch it later. But if you don't know, for $2, $4, or $10 a month, you can join my Patreon community and be involved in all of that. And for $10 people get every pattern I publish, which so far this year has been a lot. They've been getting a lot of patterns. I do want to send my condolences out to Kay Jones of the Bakery Bear podcast. Her husband, Dan, passed away, and I think it was quite suddenly. He was not feeling well the last I saw in January and going for testing, and I'm pretty sure that the cancer was back at that time. And then the next thing we all saw was that he had passed away. And I know that she lives pretty solely based on their Patreon memberships and things like that, and their newspaper that news magazine, I'm not sure what they call it, out, and her design. So I did see a post from her that she's going to be trying to come back, but that's got to be really hard, that she was not only losing her husband, and they still have a fairly young daughter who's in college, but that they work together so closely. And so then to sit back down to do a podcast by herself will be really hard, right? Because she's so used to having him next to her. So I just want to send out a big hug to Kay. I'm going to do the giveaways right now. I have 2 because I haven't been able to do them on the interviews, because those are all recorded and then I edit them. And so I just haven't gotten on to add them back in. So episode 190 way, this amazing backpack that I used very briefly a number of years ago, and now I have several more in orange. And so I'm not using it. It's just been hanging in my basement, but it has knit stitches all over it. Then I have a tape measure, some stitch markers, and this is going out to Trisha. So Trisha, send me your, I might even have your address already, but that's episode 195's giveaway. And for episode 196, this is going out to Tanya Brock. And this is one of the last iRock Knits project bags that Sandy made. It's got a lovely zipper. It's so large, really nice. I have a coloring book. I have some stitch markers and an orange tape measure. Not earn a prize, but I have so many prizes left that if you haven't won a prize yet, you're about to, because I am not giving people prizes twice. So I had to go in and type out a list and then take your names out of the list if you've already won a prize, because a couple of people have gotten two, because I'm getting down to, I only have so many subscribers of my Patreon and I have so many prizes to give. So if you haven't gotten a prize yet, let me tell you, you're on your way, and some of these prizes are getting to be really nice. I've had some yarn donated. Crystal of Factory Girl Designs gave me some yarn. Yeah, so I continue to do giveaways. And here's a little change that I'm going to be making going forward. I am going to start recording my audiobooks as a separate podcast. And so that those people that are really into audiobooks can just watch it via the YouTube channel. But if you're not, those sections can get kind of long and the editing takes longer. And so I have right now a whole ton. I think I have like 7 books to go over that I haven't done. And so I'm going to do those just after this. I'm just going to record it as a separate podcast, and then I'll put it up. And I think I'm just going to call it CORI'S Stories, since it's going to be always audiobooks. And I'll just start numbering them now, like as episode 1, 2, 3, or whatever. And then you can go out if you're looking for an audiobook, or if you want to watch that section, you can go out and just watch it as a separate thing. I'm going to try that for a while and see, because I do know that there are people who don't knit who want to know about the audiobooks I read, but they don't want to sit through a whole knitting podcast. And it is hard to scroll forward and find exactly where I start, even though I usually put pictures in and things like that. So I do have some new designs on the needles. I have a couple of sweaters coming out this spring. Well, early summer, probably June, that I am working on. And I am finishing up my loof mittens, my striped loof mittens. I really struggled with that pattern. They're just a simple striped lined mitten, which I have made many of, but it has that increase on the thumb gusset that is different. It comes up on the palm of the hand, which I've also done before. But this pattern is really more of a recipe than a kind of a guide to how to make it. And I've had to rip back 3 times. And I would say that I'm an advanced knitter. So I'm just struggling. I don't know if it's my frame of mind late at night or what's going on, but I didn't bring those over to show, because rip, reknit, then start the other one, rip, I've been struggling to get those finished up. So I do want to get that kind of off the needles here, because winter hopefully is gone. We did get 12 inches of snow recently, and now it is all melted. I don't think there's even a little pile in my front yard anymore. We had 70 degrees on Saturday. And so it all kind of went in one fell swoop. It's a little bit more chilly again today because it's spring. So we have those spring winds where it just makes the air a little cooler. I love it. My windows are open, and yeah, it feels great. The last thing I want to tell you all is that I'm selling some project bags. So in the clean out of my closet and just the organizing on the last weekend, my husband and I are cleaning out our basement. We have an unfinished giant basement, and he keeps car parts, and he sells vintage car parts out of the basement a lot. And I have been going through old boxes. We are organized, but I'm just getting rid of some stuff. And I have hooks in the basement on the studs with knitting bags on them. And I had 40. And I had some smaller project bags in my other closet, and I'm not using them, and it's just ridiculous. So I posted in my Instagram stories last night, and I'm going to put those in at the end here. Each of the bags that I have for sale, you won't be able to tell whether or not they're sold, but you can always go over to my Instagram or reach out to me via email at Corey@irocknits.com and just ask if you're interested in any of those bags. They're all ranging between $20 and $50. I have some really big ones. I have some fat squirrel bags. I'm still in the process of loading more in. I'm just going to keep the ones that I use. I have some favorites, even some bags that I really love the look of, but I don't use them for one reason or another. They either don't hold the sweaters quantity, or they're brand new. I don't know. I'm in a spring cleaning purge moment. And I think when you have those like in your clothes closet or whatever, you just need to get rid of, right? You have to just get rid of stuff when you feel the need. So I am just making a stack, and I've been selling some stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I sold a couple of bags over there that were not really knitting project bags. Just when you have an empty basement, it's easy to just fill the empty basement. Like when you have a closet and you can just fill the closet. So I also have put aside some more yarns to put up on Ravelry in my will trade or sell pile. So you can always go over there too and check it out if you are looking for yarn, but maybe you're like me and you have plenty. You know, before I started designing, I would knit 15 sweaters in a year. So this could go down quite quickly, right? If you just think about this as being, 15 sweaters. But when I'm designing, I'm getting yarn from companies, and that's just adding to the amount that is not getting used up. And I have some beautiful yarns here. So anything that I don't think I'm going to knit with in the next few years, I'm going to just be putting on my Ravelry, because I would like to be able to fit the vacuum back in this closet a little bit. All right, that's all I have for you this week. It's going to be kind of short and sweet here. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for always watching. I know I've been around for a long time, and it's easy to just forget to watch or not have it come up because you haven't watched one in a while. But I do appreciate all of you and those of you that come back time after time and, let me know that you're still out there watching. So I will see you in a couple weeks. Bye for now.